Nah, it's kind of like when you're the best at doing that, and then they have some doubt on the other position. So I just had to show them that there's no doubt in what I can do. So I went out there with no gloves and tell them these my hands are not artificial. I don't need gloves.
A trade proposal just went viral across the NFL, and it would reunite one of the most electric duos in college football history. The idea sends Shedeur Sanders from Cleveland to the Jacksonville Jaguars, putting him back with Travis Hunter, his Colorado teammate and close friend. Fans went crazy for it. Thousands of likes, endless reactions. On paper, it is a dream. But when you dig into the details, there is one massive obstacle that makes this almost impossible, and a few reasons Cleveland should not even consider it. Here is everything.
When you talk to Shedeur, I mean, I know everyone's kind of always been talking about him in the news as well. I see him a lot on my social media feed. I'm sure he sees stuff about himself as well. But have you guys at all talked about what kind of a mindset?
Let's start with why this proposal blew up so fast. Because the emotional pull is real. The idea is simple. Trade Shedeur Sanders to the Jacksonville Jaguars, where he would back up Trevor Lawrence and reunite with Travis Hunter. And Shedeur and Hunter are not just former teammates, they are the duo that brought Colorado football back to national prominence, one of the most electric pairings college football has seen in years. Over 3 seasons together, they combined for 171 receptions, more than 2,100 yards and 24 touchdowns. When ESPN put out the clip of Shedeur throwing a bomb to Hunter, the whole country watched. So the thought of seeing that connection again, this time on Sundays in the NFL, is must-watch television. That is why the proposal went viral. But here is the first thing to understand, and the panic channels will not tell you this clearly. This is a proposal. It is a viral idea that caught fire on social media. It is not a deal the Browns and Jaguars are actually working on. There's a big difference between an idea that gets thousands of likes and a trade that gets done. And there's a painful piece of history that makes this proposal hit even harder for fans. The Browns and Jaguars have a draft day connection tied to these exact 2 players. Going into the 2025 draft, Cleveland held the number 2 overall pick. They could have taken Travis Hunter, a generational two-way star, and later paired him with Shedeur. Instead, the Browns traded that number 2 pick to Jacksonville, who used it to select Hunter. Then Cleveland let Shedeur slide all the way to the 5th round before taking him, behind another quarterback, Dillon Gabriel. So the Browns had a chance to unite Shedeur and Hunter themselves, and passed. That is why this proposal stings and thrills at the same time. It dangles the reunion the Browns already gave away once. So why is this proposal almost impossible to pull off? It comes down to one giant contract sitting in Jacksonville.
You take pride in playing both of those positions. Is that your hope, though, that the team drafting is doing so with the thought that they want you to play both positions regularly?
Yes, I definitely hope. I definitely hope they accept me and continue.
Here is the massive obstacle that makes this reunion so hard, and it has nothing to do with Shedeur. It is Trevor Lawrence's contract. Lawrence is the Jaguars' franchise quarterback, the former number 1 overall pick, and he is locked in on a huge deal through 2030 with a cap hit north of $70 million in the last 2 years. That matters because it means Jacksonville is fully committed to Lawrence for years. They are not bringing in Shedeur to compete for the starting job. They would be bringing him in strictly as a backup to sit behind a quarterback making superstar money. And that is where the whole idea runs into trouble. Former All-Pro cornerback Asante Samuel Sr., who broke this idea down, made the point that trading for Shedeur to sit behind that Lawrence contract just doesn't make practical sense for Jacksonville. The Jaguars are committed to Lawrence. There is no starting job for Shedeur there, unless something goes wrong. So the reunion everyone wants would put Shedeur on the bench, which defeats the entire point for a young quarterback trying to prove he can start. And here's why that framing doesn't sit right with a lot of people, including Shedeur fans. The whole proposal treats Shedeur as a career backup, but look at what he actually did as a rookie. Even in a bad situation, he appeared in 8 games with 7 starts, threw for 1,400 yards and 7 touchdowns, and that was behind one of the worst offensive lines in football with a weak supporting cast. As one fan put it, they are trying to force him to be a backup when he played better than half the quarterbacks drafted. That is the pushback. Why would Shedeur, who is right now competing for a starting job in Cleveland, want to go somewhere he is guaranteed to sit? The reunion sounds romantic, but the football reality is that it would stall his career, not help it. So the proposal collides with 2 hard facts. 1, Jacksonville is locked into Trevor Lawrence and his $70 million contract, so there is no starting job for Shedeur there. 2, Shedeur is trying to become a starter, not a permanent backup. The reunion is a beautiful idea for fans and highlight reels, but for both the Jaguars and Shedeur, the math does not work. That is why the analysts who looked at it closely called it, in their words, basically impossible.
I mean, we've been dealing with this for a long time, so I'm pretty sure he's definitely good. You know, he don't let this stuff get to him. You know, he just got to continue to prove and continue to have the doubters, you know, pick something up and say something else about him, so he already know it's coming.
Here is an angle that makes this trade even trickier for Jacksonville, and it is a real one that analysts raised. Deion Sanders, Shedeur's father, the Hall of Famer, has been extremely vocal about how Shedeur has been treated, and he has openly blasted the way Cleveland has handled his development. And here is the twist that connects to Jacksonville specifically. Deion has already been critical of the Jaguars because he says they never reached out to ask for his input on Travis Hunter, a player he coached at Colorado. So there is already friction there. Think about what that means for the Jaguars front office. If they trade for Shedeur, they are not just adding a backup quarterback, they are adding the Deion Sanders spotlight to their franchise permanently. Every rep, every decision, every snap Shedeur does or does not get would come with primetime commentary attached. For some franchises, that attention is worth it. For a Jaguars team that just wants a quiet backup behind Lawrence, one analyst argued it makes Shedeur a turnoff, not a target. That is a real consideration in the modern NFL, whether teams admit it or not. And even setting the Deion factor aside, the trade value math is brutal, which is the third obstacle. What would Jacksonville actually give up for a backup quarterback? Not much. Analysts pointed out that it would be hard for Shedeur to even net the Browns a 6th-round pick in a straight trade right now. A 6th round. So the realistic version of this deal is not some blockbuster. The most sensible framing, per one analyst, would be a quarterback-for-quarterback swap, something low-key, not the dramatic blockbuster the viral graphic implies. When you add it up, Jacksonville has little reason to pay real value for a backup, take on the Deion spotlight, and block their own young depth, all to sit Shedeur behind a $70 million quarterback. So here is the honest read on the reunion. It is a fantastic story. The Shedeur and Hunter connection at Colorado was genuinely special, and seeing it in the NFL would be electric, but every practical piece points against it. Jacksonville is committed to Lawrence, so there is no path to playing time. Shedeur is trying to start, not sit. The Deion spotlight adds friction, and the trade value is so low that it barely makes sense as a transaction. The proposal went viral because it's a beautiful idea. It stays a proposal because the football reality gets in the way at every turn. And here is the biggest reason why this proposal should not happen, and it has nothing to do with Jacksonville. It's about Cleveland making a huge mistake.
I definitely think it's possible, but there's a lot of people that tell me I can't do it, so my job is to go prove them wrong, and this is what I'm here for, to show them that I can do both. I'm going to prove them wrong, and I'm going to just be myself, you know, most importantly, just be myself. I've been doing this since I was little, and I've always loved football.
Here is the most important point in the whole conversation, and it flips the proposal on its head. Forget whether Jacksonville should want Shedeur. The real question is why Cleveland would ever trade him, and the answer is they should not, because it would be premature and foolish. Shedeur is not some washed-up backup. He is a young quarterback the Browns are still evaluating, right in the middle of a real competition for the starting job against Deshaun Watson. And you do not trade a quarterback while you are still finding out if he is your franchise guy. Think about the logic. The Browns are running a quarterback competition specifically to see what Shedeur is. Trading him now, before that competition even plays out, would mean giving up on a potential long-term answer at the most important position in sports before he has taken a single snap with the starters. That is the definition of premature. As one analysis put it, trading Shedeur now would not only be premature, it would be giving up on what might be the answer at quarterback before he has even played a down with the first team. And the value angle makes it even dumber for Cleveland. Remember, Shedeur's trade value right now is somewhere around a 6th-round pick, so the Browns would be selling a quarterback who broke the all-time NFL merchandise record, who leads the league in jersey sales, who is the biggest draw for a franchise opening a new stadium, all for a late-round pick. You would be trading away your most marketable asset, your competition to start, and a possible franchise quarterback, and getting back almost nothing. No smart front office does that. The trade rumors even started with a single line from ESPN Cleveland's Tony Rizzo, who said teams have been calling about Shedeur's availability, but even he admitted nothing is imminent. So here's the full picture on this viral reunion. The proposal to send Shedeur to Jacksonville and reunite him with Travis Hunter went viral because it's a genuinely exciting idea, rooted in a special college partnership and a painful draft day history. But it's a proposal, not a deal. Jacksonville is locked into Trevor Lawrence, so there's no starting job. Shedeur wants to start, not sit. The Deion spotlight adds friction. The trade value is a 6th-round pick. And most importantly, Cleveland has every reason to keep Shedeur, not sell low on a quarterback they are still trying to develop into their future. The reunion is a dream for highlight reels. In the real world, it almost certainly is not happening. And for Shedeur's career, that's probably a good thing.
I'm just excited to, be able to walk across the stage with my, name being called by any team and whatever team,
So let me put the whole thing together, clean, because the dream and the reality are very different stories. Run it back. A trade proposal sending Shedeur Sanders to the Jacksonville Jaguars went viral because it would reunite him with Travis Hunter, his Colorado teammate, and the other half of one of the best duos college football has seen. The idea caught fire, thousands of likes, huge reactions, and it stings extra because the Browns once held the pick that became Hunter and traded it to Jacksonville, then took Shedeur in the 5th round. But the reunion is almost impossible. Jacksonville is locked into Trevor Lawrence in his $70 million contract, so Shedeur would be a pure backup, which makes no sense for a quarterback trying to start. The Deion Sanders spotlight adds friction. The trade value is only around a 6th-round pick, and most of all, Cleveland has no reason to sell a quarterback they are still competing to start, not sell him low. The dream reunion makes great content. In the real world, Shedeur is staying in Cleveland to fight for the job. Drop a comment. Would you actually want Shedeur to reunite with Hunter in Jacksonville, or stay and start in Cleveland? Smash like and subscribe.